Hey, everybody. My name is Letitia Nicole, and I speak life so that we all may have life more abundantly. I want to thank you for joining us. And those of you that are coming in early, thank you for joining us on the Speak Life webinar empowerment series. And tonight we have an amazing speaker, Jeffrey Moore. And what I can tell you about him is that he deserves more. He's awesome. Just his last name is blessed. I told him. He says his name Jeffrey gets more. He is blessed more. He is see, he is awesome. So I think everything that he says tonight will not return to him void because he does speak life. He speak life every day. I'm going to let him tell you about himself because he got some amazing things that's going on. But for right now, he's going to be speaking life to relationships, and he's going to be coming a different way than any other speaker from the Speak Life and Empowerment series has came. I mean, literally, I need you guys to get your handy dandy notebook and a pen. I'm going to take notes with my phone. You guys know me. I'm over at Purpose Professionals, and I'll be tweeting the things that he's saying. At the end of the show, we need you guys to come over to Purpose Professionals and listen to what he's saying, like what he's saying, get more of his information, follow him. If he have, oh God, I was about to tell some secrets. Let me stop. Let him tell his own. You know, you always try to tell somebody else testimonies and stuff they got coming out, but you're supposed to, let them tell their own because can't nobody tell your story like you. So I know he's going to tell the whole story so God can get his whole entire glory. As I said, he's doing amazing things. And I know some of you get mad at me. So I'm going to come over to Purpose Professionals again. I'm going to go over to the Speak Life 40-day challenge. I know all the ladies in there, you guys come in. I'm also going to go into the Speak Life Bible study and prayer group and tell you guys to come over because you guys get upset with me. Be like, hey, why didn't you tell us? So I'm listening. And as you guys are coming in, now I'm giving you time. It's 9:02. I normally start the show right there at 9 o'clock. I'm giving you time to come in, put the baby down, get your notebook. Okay? Get your notebook, turn the TV off, tell your husband be right back. Or matter of fact, pull him with you so he can watch this live webinar as Jeffrey Moore speaks more blessings into the atmosphere that shall not return to him void, and your family can be blessed, not just you. Pull them all in, okay? So I'm about to come over to social media now, okay? While Jeffrey's over there tuning up and getting ready for this awesome series of Speak Life into your relationship. You ready over there?
I am excited and I am ready to go.
All right. Well, I'm going to do what I just told them I'm going to do because I'm telling you, these people, they will inbox you and fuss at you. So I'm inviting you guys now. Those of you that are in the Speak Life Prayer and Bible Study, you will have a link that you guys can comment under. And it says, we are live. I'm also coming to you ladies that are in the Speak Life 40-day challenge. And I'm really excited. Thank you guys. I'm really excited about the beach retreat for the Mother's Day weekend. We can also talk about the things that we're going to learn here tonight. We can bring, this information in that night as we talk about speaking life into our relationships, because I'm sure that Jeffrey Moore is going to give us more knowledge about speaking life into your relationship on a way that you haven't even heard of yet. This month, I can give you that secret. Can't tell you nothing else. Okay? Can't tell you nothing else. He's going to have to tell you the rest. Okay? So one last place, and we're going to let Jeffrey go in. and I'm putting we are live. So you can use that link to comment on the Speak Life Challenge with Letitia Nicole. All right, Jeffrey, we are ready for more.
All right, I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm excited to come to you guys. I was sitting there getting all excited, going, "Man, what's going on in the next month?" I was getting all excited, thinking, "Man, what is she talking about? I got to get ready for this." But then it dawned on me what's happening next month. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But man, I'm excited about being on here tonight, and speaking life about relationships. And like you said, I attack things from a different angle because I go lot with as well as what I've learned studying the Word of God. So that's something that I love doing. Anyways, my name is Jeffrey Moore. I'm the host of Healing Keys Radio. It's a daily show that airs Monday through Friday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Man, we love it. We're having a great time. I also host Man Up Radio Show on Sundays and Saturdays, and Healing Keys Bible Study on Sunday nights. So 7 days a week, I'm on the air doing something, some type of radio show. So I'm excited about that. My whole purpose in my life, and the name of my ministry is Healing Keys Ministry. And that came about because each of us, Letitia Nicole, every one of us, is a key to unlocking someone else's healing. And that's something that we all have to remember. Each and every one of us knows something, has a story, and we all have something to empower someone else. And that's what we have to remember. I don't care how small it is, something in your life, something you say can turn someone's life around. So as we're talking about relationships, first of all, I've been divorced 3 times. I can tell you every way to ruin a relationship, but I also know how to focus on what needs to be done through my studies and through, of course, counseling, and I got mentors and stuff of what a good biblical marriage relationship is. A matter of fact, I am going to be getting married later on this year, so we'll talk about that later. But let's start off. First of all, if you were in a relationship, your healing is a must. As we're walking through life, we have things that happen to us. If we don't take care of those, it'll follow us into the next relationship. So the biggest thing I've learned is that marriages don't cause issues. Unhealed issues cause issues. They're highlighted in the marriage. They'll be brought out in that. They'll be amplified in that marriage. And the enemy wants to come in, whatever you want to call it, and he comes in and he wants to tear that down. Because if the best way to take anything down, whether it's a business, ministry, or a relationship, a marriage, is from within. So if we haven't got to where we need to be in that relationship, then that's going to give a foothold. It's going to be exposed. Now, me personally, I wasn't looking for a relationship. And just to give you a little bit of background about me, I spent about 20 years running from God. Like I said, I've been divorced 3 times. And after that last divorce, I went crazy. I was like, this love thing's a joke. So I went out and I became very selfish. Not only did I was killing myself and not getting anything out of life, I was also destroying my relationship with my children at the same time. I didn't realize that they were the innocent victims in it. I'm out here doing this thing thinking, well, I'll make it up to them later. You know what? I lost 4 years that I'll never get back with my kids. And it wasn't that I was not trying to meet with them or do anything with them. It was just, they weren't at the forefront. So I had got remarried to my 3rd wife. And then as soon as I got done with that divorce, it was done. So I immediately, 3 weeks after my divorce, what did I do? I jumped into a relationship and it went nowhere. So then I'm like, you know what? This isn't working. So I just started meeting women. And I will tell you women here right now that are listening, you men too, because your game's up, men. Because the thing is, the enemy will exploit whatever we have. That darkness that's within us, the enemy will take it and he will amplify it. So I know on the last time I was talking to Letitia Nicole, after my friend and sister Raina Tenen was on, I said something, you can't flirt to convert. And that's good because you can't. Because I don't care how strong you are with God. If that person isn't anywhere where they need to be, you're not going to be able to help them because they have to make that conscious decision themselves. So I was actually on my way to commit suicide whenever I had an encounter with Jesus. And very simply, at that night, I started rebuilding my relationship with Christ, and then I haven't looked back since. So that's just a little bit of backdrop and where I came from, because I've been down to nothing. I'm a former police officer. I was in law enforcement for 16 years. I had a great time doing it. I got out of it due to some conflicts that were going on and some issues I had with the upper administration. You guys see stuff on TV. I can tell you, yes, it occurs, but there's also a lot of good police officers out there. So I did that. So I got out of it. It was everything I knew, and I went down to nothing. The way I did this, I got into a relationship, y'all, that was crazy. While I was a police officer, I got involved with a married woman. The enemy, catch this, the enemy will disguise the situation to make it look like you're helping someone out to get you trapped. Now catch that. He did that to me. Not that I was doing anything, totally wrong or anything at the time, but he took it and he went farther. This lady was getting abused. She was in a domestic violence situation. Here I am, a police officer. The enemy knew I love to help people. So there's this beautiful lady, and I'll tell you now, it was all lust. And that's what it is. There's this beautiful lady that her husband was beating her, drinking a 30-pack of beer a day, just being all crazy. And so the enemy put her in place, and I gave her my phone number and said, hey, while I'm out on duty, if you just text me or whatever, I'll come, we'll get down there and we'll help you. Well, as one thing led to another, we started talking more and more and more, and then I ended up getting mixed up with her. It was so bad that I actually moved in with her the day her husband moved out. And that's crazy, because I wasn't ready, she wasn't ready, and it just went downhill from there, and that took me to nothing. Everything, because you can read about everything I was doing in the book of Proverbs. For those of you that are followers, it talks about what happens whenever you mix up with a woman that's married. And so I that's a relationship. That was my biggest, but that relationship was not in vain, because that's actually, excuse me, the relationship that brought me back to God. And that's what I love about that, because what the enemy sends for your destruction, God will use for your good and his glory. So praise God for that, and praise God for the cross. So as we're going through relationships, we have to be mindful that everybody has been through something. There's different levels of healing. So as we're going through healing, we have to remember that some people aren't at the same level. Some people aren't going to be going through the exact same things that you've gone through. Because, there's people that have been abused. There's people that have been sexually abused, verbally abused. There's different levels of it. So we have to realize that that's how it is with everyone we face each and every day. So as we're going through life, if you try to turn that into positivity, think about it. Whenever you're sitting there and you're at a gas station and you're just having the worst day ever, someone looks at you and smiles, how does it make you feel? It can change your whole day. Ladies, if you're going in the grocery store and some guy's standing there and opens up your door for you at the grocery store, opens the door, holds the door open, that doesn't happen much a lot lately. So a lot of things we got to do, we kind of got to get back to kind of old school, but we also got to remember that, we're in a different generation in a different time. So men, it's time for us to start manning up. We got to start being the men that God created us to be. And that's the whole purpose that I love focusing on, because if we can man up and be how men created us to be, then obviously what's going to follow? We're going to start getting in relationships with women that are trying to be more godly themselves or do better themselves. And it's going to be a natural synergy that occurs. So there's a few things that I've learned that God has given to me about. Back in August, I came out of my own wilderness time, and he gave me a few things that was required for my future spouse. And then he gave me some red flags to watch out for. So as we're going through relationships, we all hear them. Women, you call it women's intuition, right? Guys, we just say, something told me. But that little thing is God speaking to you, trying to save you, trying to protect you from what's going on, or giving you a little thing. Hey, watch out for this. You kind of had this happen in your last relationship, but we got to do that. So as you're going through this, guys, it's not a cookie cutter for anybody. Everybody's at a different level. And so we have to be very, very mindful of that. Like my current situation, my fiance went through a very bad domestic violence situation where she ended up trying to take her life. And then she got in with another guy to get out of that relationship that ended up after a 13-year relationship. So she's healing from all this now, prior to us meeting and everything. So we have to be conscious. There's trigger words that I can say There's things I can say that aren't mean. I ain't trying to be mean or anything like that. So if I say something, even as simple as, hey, can I help you with that? Well, women, you know that you want to be independent and that you want to do this, especially if you've been in a bad relationship because you've gone through the cycle where you go, well, I don't need no man. I'm going to try to do this. I can do this on my own. There ain't nobody going to tell me what I'm going to do, and stuff like that. Well, as men, whenever you have a guy that's truly healed, that's truly walking with God, well, it's our job to encourage you, protect you, lift you up, provide for you, do everything that a man's supposed to be. So, but if you're still not fully healed, and I come up to you and say, hey, can I help you with that? Or can I do that for you? It makes her feel inferior. And that's not something that anybody, it's perfectly pure intentions. So if you have those, and I want you to remember this, okay? Direction, not intention, dictates the story of your life. Direction, not intention, directs your story of your life. You may intend to be the best person in the world, but if you're sitting there talking to your woman, yelling at her, going to like, why didn't you do this today while I was at work? Why didn't you do that today because I was at work? Well, that direction is going to take you in a whole new level, and then you're going to end up coming at each other all the time. You're going to end up fighting all the time, and then it builds up. And that's not even to count if you have children in there that are hearing you two yell at each other because kids catch what they see. That's how they're taught. Kids are very visual. So if you're arguing with your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you're at, and your kid catches that, they're going to think that's the normal. And so something I like to tell people is whenever I'm dating a lady and how I'm going to treat that lady is I'm going to treat her like I want my daughter to be treated if she was dating somebody. What kind of spouse would I want for her? Now, I don't have a daughter, but that's how I think. In the same way, I have two sons. One's 18, one's 11. And, I want the same thing for them. I want them to date a woman of virtue, a woman that's going to elevate them, encourage them. Because let's be honest, women, you were created to encourage men. You were created as a helpmeet. That's what it says in the Word of God. Now, that doesn't mean that you were created to be a doormat. You weren't created to be anything less than the queens you are. That God created you. Each one of you are worth more than rubies. It says that in the Bible. That's how God looks at you. So how do you treat rubies? You clean them. You take care of them. You cherish them because they're brilliant. You give a woman, men, I'm speaking to you men right here that may be listening in. You treat a woman like God intended her to be treated. You encourage her. You lift her up. You open that door for her. You cook for her. You clean. You know what? Whenever your wife's sitting there folding laundry and you're just sitting there on the TV watching whatever you want to watch because you've had a long day at work, how hard would it be for you to reach over there and pick up a couple of towels and fold it? You don't have to ask, do you need help? Just do it. It's that simple. And let me tell you, folks, I know several women, and I've talked to them about several things, but it's those little small things that women love. If she comes home and that kitchen's all clean or that house is vacuumed and she doesn't have to worry about it, my gosh, it speaks volumes, one, of you, and two, and how you really appreciate her. Because, back in the old school, and you can get really fooled by doctrine and people taking it a different way. Well, women are supposed to submit to their husbands. Well, I would submit to you to read the whole chapter. Don't just pick out and choose whichever one's going to help you that day, because it also tells that husbands are to submit to their wives. And then you can go on over in Ephesians, and it talks to that how you are to love your wife as God loves you, as God loves the church. I'm paraphrasing a lot of this, so don't look it up and say, well, he said it this way. But I'm paraphrasing it, so there's that. And it says the same thing for women, to respect your husbands. So you have to have this love and respect thing. And I think, in my own opinion, and what I've seen in relationships, including my own, because even after giving my heart to God, I went through a relationship and it didn't end up well. But you know what? Because I was walking with God, that sting was a lot less, and he got me through it a lot quicker. But if you're given that love and respect, it's a circle that goes round and round and round. It's a circle that goes round and round and round because let's be honest, if Letitia Nicole's sitting there having a bad day and her husband comes up and just loves on her and maybe fixed her some dinner, hey, honey, let me rub your feet, whatever. That's going to make her happier than anything else in the world. So it's servants. You got to have a servant's heart. And this is what speaks over, and this is what's great because it crosses over to not just your relationship, your children's relationship, it crosses over into business. I know a lot of you people on here are business-minded people, are entrepreneurs. So let's go down that road for a minute, because I know there's been others on here that's talking about relationships. Um, just like Vanessa was, I know you guys watched that webinar with her. She was amazing. I was fired from my full-time position on October 21st, 2015. But I had prayed a prayer the night before and asked God to remove distractions in my life that was going to stop me from launching my full-time ministry. So I was fired 14 hours later. I freaked out a little bit at first, but it came around and I remembered what I had prayed for. So now I'm learning to be an entrepreneur, because ministry, catch this, I want you guys to realize this, ministry is also a business, excuse me. We have light bills to pay. I have a radio show host. I have airtime to pay and stuff like this. So I'm still being an entrepreneur, and I offer other things as well. And that's what's so amazing. God has really opened it up to where I can do more things. So the cool thing is now I'm doing graphics. Before we came on the air, Letitia Nicole was talking about my Man Up radio show. I had Saturday. So I made this graphic, and she goes, "Who does your graphics?" I'm like, "I do," because God has opened that up. So that's another form. I also do voiceovers now, and I do commercials. So, God's given me avenues for multiple streams of income just by following him and stepping into what he wanted me to do. But if I'm in business, especially ministry, if I don't have a servant's heart and a servant attitude for leadership, I'm going to crumble and fail. You can't be self-centered. You can't have selfish motivation that I'm going to go up here and I'm going to make so-and-so money. I want to make $10 million this year, because you know what? I'm going to go up and I'm going to sit here and I am going to make $10 million this year, and I don't care what it takes. If you're dishonest, you're going to lose people. If you're dishonest, you're going to lose people. Letitia Nicole and so many others that I have had the great honor to have God connect me with know my heart. Letitia Nicole, I pray with her once a week. Every now and then we're not able to. But, I even called her whenever I had laryngitis. It's like 45 minutes after the call was supposed to happen. Like, you know what? This ain't going to stop me. I'm going to call. So I'm squeaky voice, probably sound like I was 13 or something and barely able to talk. But, I called. So we're going to pray. But, as soon as I hung up with that prayer call, man, things started opening up in my life. But I had financial increase started happening because I was walking in obedience with God. I had things just totally blow up, and I had to call Letitia Nicole and tell her. But the thing is, every time I talk to her, she knows at some point in that conversation is, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? Because we have that type of relationship. We have that type of business relationship. She shares my stuff all the time. I share her stuff. We're serving each other because it goes round and round and round. It's so awesome, because what you give back. You've got to be generous too. In your business relationship, you have to be generous. It's not just finances, folks, and don't miss this. It's not just finances. Believe me, I know. I'm running a ministry. I'm a motivational speaker. I have 13 conferences between July and December of this year. You know what? I don't know how I'm going to get there, but God does. He's going to make sure, because I have a relationship with him, and because of that relationship with him that I have, it takes me to that next level. He is going to send me to all these locations, because, we get these opportunities that come across, but only whenever we walk through these doors. So you work on that servant hearts. Servant hearts means what? You listen. Listening. See, that's what I'm telling you. Personal relationships, business relationships, they all intertwine. They come full circle. So you're in a business relationship with your spouse. Let's be honest. You are. Someone's making money. You both are, hopefully, and you're well off. But you know what? If some guy, like I'm a hunter and a fisherman, right? I'm in a business relationship. So with my wife, if I want a new fishing pole, I just don't show up and bring it up, because we're in relationship and business together, right? Now, I may go, "Hey, honey, check out this new fishing pole I bought for you today." Come on, we're men. And I like to hunt. Look, this gun, you will look so beautiful holding it. We can use it whenever we go hunt. She may not even go hunting, because we're men, right? We're in a business relationship. And that's what it is. Women, you do it too. "Oh, honey, I've had that dress for 10 years. You mean you haven't seen that?" And then meanwhile, you got, a whole closet full of shoes that you never wear. It's a business relationship. It's a business relationship. So if we have that servant's heart, if we have that servant's attitude, we're going to serve each other, right? It's not just a guy serving his wife, and it's not just his wife serving her husband. I almost said that wrong. her husband. And that's how it goes. So if you realize that you're serving each other, you're not there to be a slave to each other. And I could do a whole like weekly series on submission and what it actually means. And that would really blow your socks off. But as we're talking about relationships and what we can do to do them better, that's what we're talking about today. So we got business relationships and we got our personal relationships. So that servant's heart, that's you have to listen to each other. You don't listen to respond. That's the problem. Too many people listen to respond. You know, you're sitting there, you're getting in an argument or someone's telling you something, and the first thing you are working on is how you're going to come in defense of that. And then it's going to build up. And then you're going to say something you shouldn't say. Then they're going to get defensive. It's going to blow up into this huge shouting match. And this is in business too. You know, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in customer service, but in customer service in restaurants or whatever, you know, retail, the customer is always right. That's something I had to learn because I worked at a call center briefly. And man, the customer's always right. So I ended up turning that around on the business. So I ended up giving away a whole bunch of stuff. And that's a whole other long story. If you have DirecTV and I gave you a bunch of free services, you're welcome. But anyways, that's what it is. I was going to help people. I was going to serve people. That's what we're here for. I'm here to serve you. Just like Natisha Cole asked me about this, I'm going to serve her. Whatever I can do, just whether she says, Jeff, I need a graphic done. Great. I can help you with that. Anybody out there, same way. And you know what? A lot of people go there, man, that's like 50, 60 bucks. No, not me, because I'm serving people, because I'm not doing any of this to get rich. I'm doing this to serve the kingdom. So I'm serving the kingdom. I'm serving that, and I'm also serving the kingdom's people. So I ain't here to exploit anybody. You know what? I'm not going to lie to you. For a basic graphic, I charge $5. That's it. $5. And I have radio people that contact me and other people that contact me. I do intros. I did a 2-minute intro to a radio show with voiceovers and mixing and all this other stuff, and I only charged them $40. It's just my time. That's all it takes is time. If I can serve you with my time, there's no price on that. Same thing with your wife. Serve your wife. If you invest time with your wife, spend time with her. And you know what? Whenever she's had a long day, or you know what, her birthday's coming up, what do? You don't say, hey, honey, I want to take you out to dinner. Where do you want to go? Surprise her. Just show up. Women love those types of surprises. Get in the car. You know, I did this one time. I said, you know what? Get in the car. And they're like, what are you doing? I said, don't worry about it. Get in the car. I just got in there spontaneously. That's spontaneous. I was serving her. So we got in the car, and guess what? I took her to dinner at a nice restaurant, and then we went out and like caught a movie and stuff, you know, and it came back. She said, you know, that was so awesome. You know, I didn't have to think about anything. Exactly. Women, my gosh, just being a woman and a mother is like the full-time job. My gosh, you guys do stuff that I couldn't do. Obviously, I'm a man. I wasn't created to be a mom. But you know what? Women, full-time job. You go to work, you come home, you take care of the kids, you make sure they're bathed, you make sure they're clothed, you get dinner on the table, then you got to clean it all up, and then you got to go to sleep, and you may be like 11 or 12 o'clock, your man's already passed out in bed. Now, come on. What's he doing? He needs to be up. He needs to be helping you, men. And I'm telling you, right here, right now, it's time to man up. You know, you got two hands just like your wife. You know what? It'll fit a broom. It'll fit a broom. You know how to press buttons. I know you do, because a lot of y'all play video games, right? People all fascinated with their video games and all their dang cell phones all day long, whenever you could be up folded laundry. You could be putting the dishes in the dishwasher, or heck, just washing them. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. And women, you know, your husband's had a bad day. He might need his feet rubbed. You know, I mean, unless he's got really bad feet, then you might not want to do that. But, you know, to each their own. But, you know, there's all these little things, you know, and I'm kind of different from the normal man. I'm like, whatever, you know, I'm one of those sentimental people. If anybody's ever been on a phone call with me, I will cry at the drop of a hat, and I'm not scared of showing my emotions. If you heard my testimony, if I was here doing my testimony, I'd probably have tears streaming down my face, because that's how good my God is. And they're not tears of pain, but you got to be open, you know, and men, and I know I'm hitting a lot on the men, and I'm not knocking you or anything. But men, you have to talk. Men, you have to let your emotions out. Don't take your emotions out on your wife or your girlfriend or whatever. You know what? Get in a good trusted group of men that are going to listen to you, but that are going to be honest with you, that are going to shoot you straight. I've got accountability partners. You know what? There's stuff that I can't, that I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. But let me tell you, there's men out there, just like women. You go out, they call them hen parties a lot, so I kind of pick on them with that. But I'm from Oklahoma. I'm from the country. So, but women, you go out and have your women's night. Well, guess what? Men's need a men's night out too. People don't realize that. Men, they keep a lot of emotions bottled up just because that's how we were taught. If you go back generations, that's what their daddies did. Their daddies worked hard and then they just didn't do nothing. You better be tough. You better stay tough. Toughen up, boy. I heard that a lot, right? And then it's like, you can't cry. Men, it's very healthy to cry. It's very healthy to get your emotions up, because if you sit there and let those emotions bottle up, you're going to let those things, and there's going to be a catalyst that's going to come in. It's going to spark. Your lady's going to say the wrong thing, and the next thing you know, you're up in her face yelling and screaming, and before you lose it, before you know it, you lose it, and it goes too far. Believe me, I was a police officer. I know how far it can go. But it's just because, men, we've been trained to be emotionless zombies. That's it. We've been trained to be emotionless zombies. But God created us to be more. Yes, we're warriors. Yes, we're protectors. Yes, we're supposed to be spiritual leaders. Did you get that? Spiritual leaders, men, not leaders of the house where you're a dictator, spiritual leaders. Women, if you are in a situation where you're being used or abused, I don't care if it's verbal, I don't care if it's financial abuse or whatever, get some help. I'm not saying to divorce your husband, because that's between you, him, and God. But if you're in a domestic violence situation, please get help. There's people out there to help you. That comes to women. You don't feel like you can talk to your man. If you don't have communication in a relationship, you have nothing. And you have to be open to communicate about anything. If your guy comes to you and says, hon, I've been struggling really bad. I got this pornography addiction. That's a betrayal. Women, I know it is, but he's calling out for help. And yeah, you have to respond in your own way, but he needs help. He's calling out to you to help because he loves you that much that, honey, I made a mistake. So I'm going to be honest with you. I've got to get help for this. And a lot of people will just throw in the towel and they'll go the whole different direction. So it's tough. Relationships are tough. And, in the world today, they're only getting tougher. They are. You can go out in the world every day and see things that are coming against relationships. You have all of these women. I live in Florida, right? And for those of you that didn't know, I live in Florida, and there's beaches everywhere. So there's temptation, right? Same thing for women. You go down to Miami and there are men, all buff men running around. And those of you that know me, I'm not the buff type, but there's women down and men and women down there. They run around wearing basically nothing. So you got to be careful with what you put yourself in, because if you are really honest with yourself and your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you have a past. There is something that can trigger in your heart and in your mind and bring you back to that. So we have to be very careful. You have to guard your heart, just like the Bible says. And as long as we guard our heart, as long as we keep on our toes, as long as we put the other person first, a lot of times we get it backwards. We put ourselves first. And you have to know your self-worth. Absolutely, folks. That's a matter of fact, it's one of the conferences I speak at, is know your self-worth. We have to know that. But if you're confident in yourself, there's no problem for you to elevate your spouse above what you are. Because that's, in fact, is what it is. You are elevating them. You are sending them to that next level. And it's business-wise, folks. I'm telling you, it's the same way. Whenever I lead people, in my relationship with people that I coach, people that I mentor, my purpose is to elevate them. I have a big thing. I try leaders. If you're listening in, leadership is a relationship as well. Leaders, if you're not training other leaders to replace you, you've got the wrong type of leadership mentality. Because otherwise, if you're not elevating these people and sending them above you, all you have is followers. And followers isn't what we're leaders for. We're here to help them, to elevate them. And it's the same thing with our spouses and our kids. I can go on and on about kids. Like I said, I threw 4 years away, but I've rebuilt that relationship and am currently rebuilding that relationship with my children. And it's better than it's ever been before, because I took and changed that relationship. I took that and I I intentionally made an effort. And it's the same thing we do with our wives and our husbands, whatever you're in. You have to be intentional about it. You have to intentionally wake up every morning and encourage that person because, we're all just walking through this thing called life. And as we're going through this thing called life, things are going to happen. And our relationships live and die by the tongue. Our relationships live and die by the way we react. And one thing I try to help people with that are just, walking with God and are going through this whole process is to remember you can only control your actions and reactions, not the actions of others, not the reactions of others. And that's what we have to remember. We have to forgive. In business, you're going to have people that come against you. Man, let me tell you, I've had stuff that people sit there and said stuff about people that I've connected with going, oh, they're going to stab you in the back. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And I'm like, well, they haven't done it to me. So until God comes out and God tells me that there's not anything that they're trying to betray me or something, I'm going to still do it because God protects me. God goes before me and he will give that to me. So be careful whenever you're in entrepreneurship and you're connecting with people. Always be on guard and always watch out, but watch what other people say about other people. Everybody has an opinion. We know this. Everybody has something that has had a bad day and it comes against them or something like that. And, they'll form something. We don't know what's going on in that situation. We don't know what's going on in that situation. I recently had to make a business decision that I didn't want to make. A couple of them, as a matter of fact. And one came on and just slammed me on Facebook. I don't know if any of you saw that, but they did. And I was able to get it off there, but it wasn't anything I did wrong. I have a distinct policy set up. So it was a whole business thing. But it's still a relationship, right? So I pray for her. I forgave her. And I still pray for her. That's one thing we got to do. We got to pray. We got to keep moving. We got to forgive. And it's hard to forgive. But the importance of forgiveness in our relationships are monumental. Because if we don't, well, for those of us that are following Christ, there is something in there that says that we have to forgive or we won't be forgiven. And so that's it. We got to put God first. We got to put God first. And then secondly, we got to have communication. We got to have that communication. And then we got to have love. Love. You got to have love. If you don't have love, you're bankrupt. You catch that? If you don't have love, you're bankrupt. That means that you're giving love to everybody in business and everything else. And you have to love unconditionally. It's hard, but you know what? Like we was talking about a minute ago, people come against you. God tells us to love them. He doesn't say we have to stay connected with them. Catch that? Love your neighbor, absolutely. Love your enemies, pray for them, absolutely. But he doesn't tell you to stay in the same camp with them. If someone's betraying you and they're really coming against you and they keep coming against you, get out. Get out. Forgive them, absolutely. It's a must. It's monumental. You have to forgive them. It's a commandment. We have to. But you don't have to keep hanging out with that person. You don't still have to be in business. Same thing. I had to make a business decision not too long ago. I didn't want to, but God told me to. It doesn't change our relationship with that person. Still love her, still pray for her. A matter of fact, just like I pray for Letitia Nicole, I still pray with her on Fridays. But it was a business thing. She could have took that a whole other way. I could have took it a whole other way, but we didn't. But even if someone betrays you, even if someone comes against you so hard, forgive them. Give them a second chance. Look. If God didn't give me, if God didn't give me a second chance, we wouldn't be here talking right now. So I can have grace. We all need more grace. I don't care who you are. We need more grace in our business, more grace in our relationships, more grace in love, more grace in forgiveness. Offer grace. But if they continue to go down that path, you have to be strong enough to walk away. And as we're closing, there's this really strong, man. It's that whole forgiveness thing. That's the key to everything. Is being able to forgive somebody. It's hard to do. I admit. There's time, folks, I went 3 years until like a month ago in March, I finally forgave the last person I needed to forgive because I held on to that for 3 years after recommitting to God. And you know what? As soon as I done that, things started opening up. And it was someone that's a family member. We all have them. You're not going to get support from your family members like you think you are, people. If you, I mean, you want to find out who your real friends and family are, start a business. Start a business. Start a ministry. Because everybody still thinks of you who you used to be. And I posted on Facebook the other day, and I believe this with all my heart. If you know me based on who I was a year ago, you don't know me at all. You know me, who I am, based on who I was a year ago, you don't know me at all. We're all constantly growing. And I guarantee you, Letitia Nicole, Lorena Tennant, uh, Taisha Powell, all these other great people that I've been connected with, they're different than they were a year ago. God takes us through seasons. Those relationships build. We connect with new people. We harness those relationships. So stay focused on those relationships. Love those relationships. Extend love, extend grace. Be generous with each other. Be generous with planning. Like I said, it doesn't have to be financially. It could be with time. Time is the only thing that you can never get back. You can make money. You can make more money, but you can't give time back. That's why it's the greatest gift at all. So invest in people, and I promise you it'll come back to you. So do that. Offer grace. Forgive people. Most importantly, step into your purpose. You are the only person holding you back. And you can get in your own way of God's blessing. So do that. Reach out. Reach out. Get you some accountability partners. Women, you need that too. Get you some women you trust, get an accountability partner. Men, by all means, you need an accountability partner. I can't stress that enough. I have mine and I have mentors. Get you a coach. They'll help you in your relationship. They'll help you in your business. There's all kinds of coaches out there now. You can find one. There's been several on this great series, on the Speak Life to Relationships series. Letitia Nicole is a great coach. Reach out to her network. She's got coaches there. There's specific people that do specific things. But the main thing is, remember, you have the power in yourself to do great things. And only you can make